Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Let's go live here. How's everybody doing this evening? Hey, everybody. Good evening. Uh, let's see how we can get situated here. See if we coming on. Hey, everybody. For those of you just stopping by, I had I always say this because I get people like, who the hell beat you up? But I had eyelid surgery Thursday. Today made a week. A week ago, I have stitches on both eyes, and I had from aging, the flaps of the things were just hanging down. So basically, I had an eye tuck, an eyelid tuck, an eye tuck, or something. So I had that done a week ago, and still most of the swelling's gone down. Still got some pretty deep bruising going on. But good evening out there on planet Earth, everybody. Top of the evening to you. I don't have anything of substance to say this evening other than Ava's out of town, and I'm here at the house by myself for the next until Monday, I believe. So, so why not just log on and say hello and see what's going on out there in the world? But top of the evening to you. Ava left this morning about maybe 10 o'clock. She needed to be at an event this evening in Durham, North Carolina, and then tomorrow she's driving over to Wilmington. They're going to be over there for Saturday and Sunday, and I started to go with her. I debated for a couple of days. I said, well, maybe I'll just get in the car and ride with you, because it's about, I guess, a 5-hour drive up there. And I never could pull the trigger on that, so my eyes are itching. I need to keep my fingers out of it. So, hey, Heather. I asked Heather to make sure my sound's all right because you feel goofy sometimes. I've hooked this microphone up right here, and then you'll be doing a live, and then you'll go back and like, I did a live for an hour. Nobody even heard nothing. The sound wasn't even working. So, but anyhow, about 30 miles outside of Durham today, well, before she even got to Charlotte, the car started acting up. She's got a 2015 Acura RDX. The whole power steering went out. It's just flashing, and I've never in my life, I've never used any kind of roadside service. I have roadside service. I've just never had to use it. So she was kind of really stressed and freaking out about that. Her car finally died on her, and she's on the side of the highway about 30 miles outside of Durham. So I found an Acura place and on the south side of Durham, and then she called a tow truck and was towed to the dealership, and then she had to take an Uber about another 15 miles to her hotel where she's staying tonight. Anyhow, the car's at the dealership. There ain't no telling. God knows what it'll cost to get it fixed, but or maybe God doesn't know. But she got to her room and got a shower and took off to some event in Durham that they're having tonight, where they're showing one of her films, short films, or a film that she's involved with, or something like that. She goes a pretty good bit, actually. Hey, everybody over on TikTok. Good evening, everybody. Eddie William Sellers, sitting in my little dining room here in East Point, Georgia, right by the airport here in Atlanta. Just going to sit here and babble for a few minutes and drink some water and let this day kind of wind down. But anyhow, not this weekend. She comes back Monday. This weekend, we're in town, staying home. But then the next weekend, whatever weekend that is, we're going to be staying that weekend, Friday and Saturday night, in downtown Macon, Georgia, y'all, right across the street from the Macon Opera House. And there's some event going on there next weekend. That's if I don't know, in coordination with Pride Atlanta or the Atlanta Film Festival or something that she's involved with. So we're going to spend that weekend in Macon. And I never have been a big fan of Macon, but I was reading an article a while back that the 10 places in the South you must visit. And I was surprised that Macon had made the top 10 of places to visit if you're coming across the South, And so next weekend we'll be in Macon, Georgia. So I'm sure she'll be advertising that a little bit. And this weekend she's in Durham, North Carolina. And, she likes all that entertainment kind of stuff. Yeah. So, but good evening, everybody. So it's just going to be me and Boom Boom and Gracie hanging out here. Tomorrow is Friday already. My eyes are healing good, ain't they? For those of you people out there, still got some of this. The thing about Medicare will pay for the eyelids if they are blocking some of your vision. And I didn't really think my eyelids were blocking my vision. I just wanted I just wanted them snipped and tightened. I didn't like the hanging of them. And then after I had the surgery done, I'm like, oh my God, I can see bigger. Not see necessarily better, but I can just see bigger, because the eyelids was, pulling my eyes more closed. So they gave me 5 big Percocets for pain if the pain got bad, but I never had to use any of them. Never did take one, so I got 5 Percocets in a drawer in here if I ever want to party like it's 1979 again. So, but anyway, y'all. So what's going on in the world today? And the other thing about Ava breaking down on the side of the road on the outskirts of Durham and North Carolina is, Ava being a Black trans female, it's an added level of worry or concern a little bit because for whatever reason, the MAGA crowd has seemed to pick out trans people as the person to hate in this moment. America goes through different stages of what group we're going to hate now. For whatever reason, the Fox News and the MAGA crowd, oh my God, they're just outraged at trans people. Oh, they're just outraged at trans people. Just have conjured up this big wave of hate toward anybody that's trans. So, we're living in this part of history where that's going on right now. So it does concern me when Ava's broke down out on the side of a highway. You got I know she was pretty freaked out about being on the side of the road. And because I don't know, the tow truck driver that came to pick her up, he might have been a real redneck MAGA guy that wouldn't want no trans person in his record, because they give you a ride back to wherever they're taking you. You just don't never know who you encounter out there. And but I do worry about her on that thing because she's kind of familiar with the workings in and out. It is scary times. She's kind of familiar with the inner workings of being around the city like Atlanta. Atlanta's a very progressive city, y'all. All the crazy white people live outside 285. Not many of them live inside the city limits of Atlanta. They live out in Duluth, Alpharetta, and Johns Creek, Canton, Kennesaw. Why does that make me laugh? Crazy white people. You have to be real careful what you say about stuff like that because Facebook don't care, but TikTok will flag you and ban you. Especially the the MAGA people. Yeah. Oh my Jesus, my Jesus. But yeah, there's that, and yeah. So hopefully she's going to enjoy at least the rest of her evening, and get herself situation. I told her, I said, well, when you get to the theater, just have you a couple of glasses of wine and say shit on it. Sometimes you just have to, yeah, you just go with it. So, but anyway, y'all, the world seems pretty crazy right now. Supposedly, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin is going to be meeting tomorrow in Alaska. And I got news for y'all. There's going to be no peace deal tomorrow. It's just going to be a bunch of foolishness mostly. I come from the old school of diplomacy, where before a president would ever meet with somebody in a situation like that, like Jimmy Carter did with Anwar Sadat or Menachem Begin, the State Department, which has tens of thousands of employees and ambassadors, they would have already worked out the details. And so when the leaders got together, it was already kind of a done deal. That's why they were meeting. Well, Donald Trump, he's just going to put on a show tomorrow. Ain't nothing's going to come of it. Why does everybody get the sense that if something does happen, that Ukraine and Zelensky's going to get screwed in this deal? That's going to get screwed pretty big time in it, And so there's that going on. And then, we got this martial law stuff going on in Washington, D.C., where they got, the National Guard in Washington, D.C. It's crazy, isn't it? I mean, are they going to have it in Atlanta next? And I think about just where we're at as a country, as a nation, as a people. When I say that we're always living through history, history is ongoing. No matter in 1980, we were all living through that part of history. In 1990, so when I say we're all living through history, I'm not speaking in the context that's always history. I'm speaking in the context of this right here, what's going on in the country is a type of history that will be written about in books and for decades to come. People will have opinions and have insights to what was going on in America in the year 2025 when MAGA took over the country. And let there be no doubt about it, MAGA is in 100% full control of the nation. From the Supreme Court to the Congress to the Senate to the state legislators to the, MAGA is in complete control of the Justice Department, of ICE, immigrant, everything's MAGA. And so it's unlike any other time in history that I turned 70 this coming September. In my 70 years that I've lived throughout my life, we've never had nothing like this before. And you can kind of see, like Jimmy Carter said about this, I've noticed it within myself, and because really ain't nothing nobody can do except ride this pony until this pony runs out of breath. So there's nothing really we can do right now except just hold on and go with this, because MAGA is in total control of everything. And if y'all notice, the person they fired because of giving out labor statistics got fired because it wasn't flattering to Trump. They've hired this new person to take over, putting that, every month, every quarter, they put out government statistics on how the economy is doing, how, the workforce is doing, and so forth. Well, now they've said they're just going to pause and just don't put out no numbers, and then that way people don't really know how bad the economy is really getting. I noticed little things like this. I own a blueprint shop here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been in the blueprinting business in Atlanta since 1972. So what is that? About 50 years I've been doing it. And so as a person, as someone who owns a business, small business, a blueprint shop, I get to see all the plans in the work, or a lot of the plans, like for a city of Atlanta. I get to see where subdivisions are coming, but they're 5 years down the road. I get to see where a 30-story building is going to be built in Sandy Springs years before it gets to the groundbreaking part of actually building it, because there's all kind of preliminaries and changes, and all this stuff gets run through blueprint shops. I see it every day. If you've noticed recently in the paper, in the stuff that's going on, Atlanta, which has been one of the hottest real estate markets in the nation for the last 6 or 7 years. I mean, astronomical. I sold a house right up the street, a few streets over on Broad Avenue here in East Point, maybe 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I put it on the market. The market was so crazy. The lady that bought it wrote me a letter about her and her little girl been turned down from buying other houses. And she was adamant. She offered above what I was asking for it. I think I was asking $220. It was a little small house. She offered more than that. Listen to this. She said there will be no home inspection. There will be no appraisal. You just accept this. We'll go close. And so I accepted it. So that was the market 3-4 years ago in Atlanta. Crazy. People out bidding up prices. The headlines on the AJC here the last several days, the bold headlines is Atlanta is now a buyer's market. Houses are just sitting on the market. Homes are and I know this because I'm a geek, house geek freak. I love looking at all the Willow and the real estate things. You'll see a house get listed for, well, here's an example. There's a house on Pickett's Alley in Cabbagetown that was listed for 1.3. I'm like, that's ridiculous. They'd all want that much for a house. A month later, they had dropped it to 1.1, 200,000. A month later, they dropped it to 900,000. And I looked recently and it said 800,000. So it dropped from 1.3, $500,000. Ain't nobody paying 800 for it. So that's just one house. But the headlines on the AJC is Atlanta is now a buyer's market. Here I am trying to get a house ready over on Key Road to sell. Of course, them little houses like that, I mean, that house won't be but like $225 or something. People can still buy that. But overall, the economy is struggling. The jobs market is real sketchy right now. And yet, I don't understand this, y'all. Everywhere I go in Atlanta, I was just over at Zesto's earlier. Did y'all see my post on Facebook? I went by Zesto's. They got me a hot dog and a fry and a Coke. That's my dinner. Ava's out of town. See, you got to live. But they got a sign on the door, Zesto's hiring. I think it's like $15 an hour, part-time, full-time, anytime, your schedule. We work with you. We do this, we did this. Something happened through COVID where people just don't want to work shit jobs no more. And, you know, it used to be those jobs was like for high school kids and senior citizens that was retired, basically wanted to get out of the house. Nobody wants to work those shit jobs no more, you know? And why would they? Could you imagine working a drive-through at a Popeye's Chicken and they got them speakers that can't nobody hardly understand? Like, yeah, go ahead with your order. Go ahead with your order. Then people are like, I done told you one time, you know? So we're just living in history that's a strange, odd time right now. Hey, TikTok, everybody over there. It's been a while since I did a live. Y'all come on in the room and say hello. They don't, yeah, Mom said they don't pay enough to support people. Y'all, if I'm being honest, who pays anything to support people? You know, I had a guy come in my shop a while back, and he had sold his house. And he told me, and he bought him a little house out on Columbia Drive in Decatur, little ranch style house, wasn't much. and he told me, he said, Eddie, I finally sold my house. He said, my house payment was $10,800 a month. And I'm like, my God, that's a lot of money. He said, man, that was so stressful trying to come up with that payment every month. 10,000. He had two small kids. He has two small kids. He said, I tell you what, even if I won the lotto, I don't never want to live in that. He said, and that's just a mortgage, much less taking the upkeep and the landscape and taking care of a house where the payment's $10,800 a month. Good heavens, y'all. I don't know how people do it, you know. And but anyhow, if you're in the market to buy a house, now it's time to buy them because the prices are really starting to come down. Let me get me a drink of water, y'all. So anyway, so we got the Putin Russian thing. It's probably going to be on the news all day tomorrow. Hi, Eddie. I caught you on the live. You're looking good. Thank you there, Marlis. You're always so sweet when you comment on posts that I do, and you always say, I love you, Eddie. And I don't know, I just love it. It's sweet. But yeah, I haven't really been doing lives anymore. I mean, unless I feel like it. I know this about myself. You know, I was doing lives for a little bit because it actually generated some income, and especially on TikTok, if you want to be in their algorithm. Thank you there, Marlis. Sending all that love back to you. I just know this for me. I have to feel something to do it. I just can't do stuff that I don't feel. And sometimes I feel like going live. Sometimes I feel like doing videos or dance or music silliness. Sometimes I feel like just being silly, you know. And but supposedly, if you were going to be a somewhat personality on social media, you get a rhythm, you do it often, you do it at the same time every evening or 2 or 3 evenings a week, and you build a rapport and you get a follow. Y'all, not everybody cares to have a following. You know, to me, I just rather communicate and let all that that don't bother me. Yeah, there's something about it. If you ever do post something and it's commented on 30 or 40,000 times, yeah, it's kind of a little bit like, whoa, they're seeing something in that I didn't really see, but bless their hearts, hon. But I think I could care less now about going viral. I could care less now. And, you know, there's a possibility that TikTok might even cease to exist at some point a month or two down the road. Not only that, but there's rumors that the Heritage Corporation Foundation's buying most of it. I'm not going to be on there with the Heritage Foundation, a bunch of crazy people. So I think for some of us that love Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and TikTok, I think for some of us, we probably enjoy more seeing other people's posts and other people's socialness than we do about putting our own stuff out there. Hey, Miss Eddie, we love you, Miss Saban. Enjoy your lives. Yes, thank you, Miss Kathy. Good evening to you too. It's always good to see you on here. But anyway, I just know for me, I don't, you know, that thing about being trying to make yourself be viral and accumulate, you know, when I started TikTok, I guess a couple of years ago, I kept because you can't go live on TikTok if you don't have 1,000 followers. So anyhow, I got a couple, 200 or 300 followers, and Ava then had Ava then had 1,600 or whatever. I'm like, no, I've got to knock her out of her saddle. She thinks she's a little too heady and high-minded with 1,600 followers, and so anyhow, I was just on a mission. I wanted to get up to 1,000 followers so I could just click this button and go live, speak to the country, like do fireside chats like FDR. So I kept asking Ava, I'm like, Ava, how do I get 1,000 followers? And there's all kind of tricks to it you can do. Like there's you can get 1,000 followers on there if you don't got it. People say, you follow me, I'll follow you. And that's how you build each other up. I'm like, I don't. And so I did want to get to 1,000 though, but I didn't want to sell my soul to the devil. And I think I did a goofy video of Elvis Presley singing. I put a wig on and shaking my head, and people just love it when you get goofy like that. I'm like, yeah, that's okay, but I'm really not that person. That's not really. Why would you want people to follow you unless they were following something that you were being genuine about? And so anyhow, I finally got up to 1,000 things, and I said, that's good for me. That's all I want. I don't care about nothing else. And then I just, I did go viral for a little bit. And I think my first ever big time viral video was, I did a video sitting out in my yard, and I did a video on the Chrisley guy and the Chrisley family. They had just been sentenced to go to jail. And I did a video about, like, my God, why would people want to live secret double lives, and be shady like that? Oh my God, I did not know how many people loved the Chrisleys. And, but the angst against that propelled, it's just like thousands of people started following me and commenting and, say, who are you to judge, you goddamn preacher? You ain't no better than Chrisley guy. I just sat there and tickled and had myself a good laugh about all of it. But anyhow, I think also that we have to, if we do, for myself, if I do use social media, I've come to realize it's a wonderful platform if you do feel like you have something to say. So here's the other problem. Paul said in the Bible that all voices are significant in Corinthians. Although there's many voices in the world, there's all of them significant. But if you do at times feel like maybe you're feeling something in your spirit that I'm considering eyelid surgery, watching your progress has been encouraging. Y'all, let me just say this too about this. Sunrise. This is just me. I'm not telling nobody to get their eyelids. I freaking love it. I love it. My eyes are still swollen somewhat and bruised. I love the contour of them. I love that I actually have eyelids now. If you see that right there, that's eyelids. Before, I had no eyelids. I just had flaps that hung down. That made me look older too. I love it. I had no pain. Maybe 3 or 4 hours after the surgery, my eyes burned a little bit. I never did take no pain pill. Put a little salve on them. They got swollen bad the next day. They never got infected. I love the eyelid surgery. So am I an advocate for you doing it? Absolutely. So what? It takes a week of your life of getting your eyes back well again. And what I will tell you that Social Security, Medicare will pay for the top surgery. These bags right here, if I ever want these bags, they could take these bags off. Y'all look at this right here. They could take these bags off. You have to pay for that out of pocket. Insurance don't pay for it. Medicare, it's cosmetic. That's considered cosmetic. This is considered for vision. So, but I love it. I love the way they turned out. And it's, it's good to kind of like the way you look. If there's a certain pair of glasses that make you feel like you look better, get them. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to mess around and look like Kenny Rogers. I could really see, though, for people that have plenty of money, I could really see where that people could get sucked into that, like, oh, these eyelids look pretty good. Why don't we just take a little bit of that up right there? That looks good too, don't it? Let's put a little put a little Botox in there and push that wrinkle out. Look at that wrinkle's gone now. I can see where people can get carried away with it. But anyway, yeah, I think in this era, that in this time we're living in, sound like an old preacher, don't I? We just have to kind of ask ourselves, what do we want out of this platform? What do we want out of this medium? Do we want followers? Do we want to get people's attention? Do we have things that we know that we carry with us in life that if we share would help other people? And the reason I decided a week ago just to put all the bad about my eyes right now, I didn't put sunglasses on. I didn't try to cover, just like, oh, yeah, just put it out there. The surgery takes about 45 minutes from start to finish. They do put you in anesthesia, and it's not like, I don't know if some of you people have had colonoscopies and upper GIs and lower GIs, where they give you a little bit of something, put you to sleep, but it's not like a full-blown operating room anesthesia. It's just kind of, they call it sedation. With this eyelid surgery, they took me in an operating room, not unlike the one they did heart surgery on. And the guy says, open your mouth, and he was checking my air thing. And I'm like, y'all gonna put a tube down my throat? And he said, no, I need to know what I'm working with in case we have to incubate you, put a tube down your throat. So they do take you under anesthesia, which at my age, I had to go get an EKG. I had to get a release from my cardiologist. I had to go get blood work done, see where my levels was at. And I had to go get a physical for them to say, okay, you can go under the anesthesia. But the surgery itself is only like 45 minutes, and you feel fine as soon as it's over. I want to be a sandwich, after I got my drogginess out of me a little bit. And after the anesthesia, I know the rest of that day, he was just out of it, just kind of come and go. But man, it's such a deep, good sleep where you just sleep off and on. So I would tell you, yeah, to have the surgery, So, but anyway, I guess I'm going to get off of here and get in bed and see me and the two doggies go get in the bed and call it a night. Just thought I'd come on here and say hey to everybody. I hope some of you that see the progress with my eyes, if you're thinking about it, there's a line in the song Mr. Bojangles where he says that he had the eyes of age. The eyes really age you. That's why a lot of people like to wear glasses. Like the aging of the eyes really tell on us. They say you look at the hands and the eyes and kind of tell the age of somebody. So, and it's not that we're trying to look younger. It's just some parts of you really kind of age a lot, and so it did surprise me though that I can see bigger, not better, but I guess when the eyes are more open, your screen's bigger, you can see bigger. So, but anyway, everybody, let me get off of here. Going forward, yeah, it's just strange times we're living in, strange times we're living in, this Trump era, this MAGA era. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen in the country in the months ahead? You got Texas gerrymandering districts to try to squeeze an extra 5 Republican seats out. And then to combat that, Gavin out there in California saying he's going to gerrymander California to get an extra 5 Democratic seats. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah. You wouldn't think that, good night there, Vicky. Yeah, I am looking better. My eyes are getting better. This bruising I got this one little bruise right here. It's got to come on down. So anyway, y'all, I guess I'll see y'all in the morning when I get up, put my coffee on, get my day started, write a little morning post. My hair still looks good, don't it, to be an old man? Don't it? Look how good my hair looks. y'all, y'all, I'm still that conceited 17-year-old long-haired skinny boy from Cabbagetown. I look at myself and I'm like, doggone, you ain't doing too bad, Eddie. You ain't doing too bad. Somebody else come across that don't know me looking and say, man, that man's an old man, isn't he? No, I'm not old. So, yeah. But anyway, good night, everybody. Love y'all. Just thought I'd come on here and pass some time. Maybe Ava gets in tonight from her event in Durham. She'll come across this. I love you, sweet baby. I'm so glad you got off the side of the highway up there in North Carolina and got your shit together and decided to be a trooper and get on out there on the town in Durham and go meet people and enjoy your night. Yeah, that's something. Love y'all. Let me get off of here. I done talked to my throat's tired. Let's end this right here.